What's good, everybody? Welcome to Why Teach, brought to you by Dream Publications. My name is Emmanuel Wallace, and I'm the leader and founder of Dream Publications. And I'm proud and delighted to introduce you to our new series talking about Bible studies. We recently had the opportunity to release two of our newest resources, Our Dream in God's Eyes, a Bible study talking about what it means to be a dreamer, and Relationship Goals. It's just you and me, God, talking about what it means to have a relationship with God, uncovering who God is, who we are in His eyes, and what the plan of salvation is. I'm excited to share these two and our take on teaching with you in this series, Why Teach. We've made it to lesson 2, talking about listening ear. Let's get into it. Can I ask you something? What makes something complete? To me, it's a surety. It's an understanding that's backed by evidence. Because a puzzle without pieces can't be complete unless those pieces are found. Biases formed without understanding are the same way. Never deny someone an opportunity to grow. Because you never know where someone is until they tell you. I like to say actions speak louder than words, and a lot of us do. It's a common saying because it's true. But that doesn't make our ears exempt from doing the work of listening. I would rather listen to understand than listen to answer. Because a lot of times we spend time watching without ever asking. We don't truly understand motive until we actually speak to the person. Why do you do it like that? Why did you do that? And sometimes it can be just a simple misunderstanding. They might not even know they're doing something if it bothers you. Like, even if it's just a normal relationship, like say you're friends and someone is doing something that's annoying and they do it over and over and over again, if you don't confront it and set a boundary, you might have beef that you could have settled a long time ago. So until you ask, you'll never know why. Or until they tell you, you'll never know why. Lots of people do things repeatedly. Lots of people just do things without anybody ever asking for reasons that we would never know. And we would never understand if we don't take the time to listen. So we like to say actions speak louder than words, and it's true. But that doesn't mean don't listen when somebody comes to tell you, or when you ask, why? Okay? And we have to listen to understand rather than listen to answer right away, because sometimes all people need is an ear. I've learned this the hard way multiple times, that sometimes it's best to remain silent and let somebody speak their piece than cut them off periodically within their argument, within their conversation, because ultimately they get more riled up, or they feel as if you're not actually listening or hearing them. I'm what you like to call a medicator. That means when I hear something and I know there's a solution to it, I like to give you the solution right away. But I've learned over time that sometimes if you just quiet down, be quiet for a second and let them get everything out, and then actually process what the person is saying, process what's going on, process the situation that they're telling you about, then you can give sound advice and sound judgment. Because sometimes we can even get caught up in the heat of the argument, and there might not even be an argument. Like, I could build a perception off something I don't know, or off of something that I think I know because of what you told me, but I didn't get the full story because I tried to medicate it before you even finished. So that's why listening, especially as a teacher, is so important, because you never know the full story until somebody tells you. Especially when it's personal, when it's just them. It's a story about themselves. Now, arguments are a different story. You want to know both sides of the story before you say anything. Yeah, because if you only know one side, it's easy to form a bias about the other side. But when you know both sides, it's a little bit different when it comes to argument. But when it comes to someone's personal life and their story, sometimes it's best just to listen, gain understanding, and that way you can find the path to move forward. Especially when teaching the Bible study, using the Bible biblically, helping them steer in the right direction. You steer them in the right direction using the Bible, the Word of God, what He says about the situation. You can also find a pathway to teach and learn like what it is that they need at this point in their life, and then expand on that. Okay? And also, if someone is asking or desiring to grow, one of the best things we can do is let them tell you where they are. Like I just said, it's so important to let them tell you where they are rather than forming our own opinion of where they are. Because I don't know your personal life. I can't tell you or tell you, well, you did this yesterday, when I'm not even at your house. I'm not in your house every day. I can't tell you what you said last week. That's not my business. But if you tell me you want to grow as a teacher, my job is to point you in the right direction, to be with you as you grow, and to challenge you. Now, when you tell me where you are, then I have a basis to begin. Kind of like a starting point. Now I know where we can work from and where we can work towards. That's why, even as teaching, I think it's important to set goals for yourself as a teacher and for your student. If they're serious about growing, it's important to set goals. Whether it's building a consistent prayer life, whether it's gaining a better understanding of who God is, whether it's just finding that pathway to freedom and embracing it, building faith to take these next steps. They might know the truth, but they just need more faith. They need deeper understanding. They could be Christians struggling to find the strength and courage to keep going. We're not exempt from needing help. Even as we grow, we'll need help. We have teachers, we have mentors, we have leaders, and these people might have no one. So you have to think about this when we teach. Are we willing to invest in our students' lives? Are we willing to partner with them in their journey getting closer to Christ and our journey getting closer to Christ? It's like I keep saying, like I've said before, when you teach, you're being taught at the same time how to love another person, how to love souls, and how to love Christ in a new light. And if they want you to know, they'll tell you. Is everyone like that? No. But that doesn't mean don't be available. Like I said last week, teaching is a commitment. And don't force your will on them. Don't force your will as a teacher on them. If they're going to tell you, they'll tell you. Don't try to poke and prod at things that aren't your business. Just pray. Keep believing that God's going to do a work in their life. Keep believing that God's going to transform their lives. Keep praying. Keep believing that He's going to do what He said He would do. Because we have to be intentional. And the more intentional we are, the more significant of a role we can play. The more we take the time to read and study what we're going to be teaching the next week, the next day, the next hour, the more we're willing to invest time into preparing, the more willing we are to really pour ourselves into teaching and listening and understanding that student, investing in their lives. I'm not saying you have to be best friends, but I'm saying build a relationship beyond just teacher and student. Because when it's just teacher and student, it feels like kind of like a business deal. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but to me it makes sense. It feels more like a business than an actual relationship. And relationships tend to garner and last longer than business relationships. Because we're helping each other. We're in partnership, okay? And it's hard to sail, and I like this saying because I made it up, but it's hard to sail when you never reach the dock and board the boat. I'll say it again. It's hard to sail when you never reach the dock and board the boat. If you don't know the story, you don't know where to go. If you don't know the beginning, and that beginning could be them asking you, can you help me? That beginning could be something as simple as that. That's your starting point. You don't have to know the backstory, you don't have to know everything. But they ask you for help, they say, help me. Or if they even say yes when you ask them, do you want a Bible study? They say yes. That is an inclination or an indication that you can take me further. I'm giving you access, and I am willing to have you lead me the best way, the way to Christ. So the very beginning of every Bible study, like I just said, is the ask. Sometimes people will ask you, other times you'll ask them. But listen, understand their response, accept their response, and if they say yes, commit to them. Commit. Be intentional. Schedule. Show them that you care. It's important. Because not only are you influencing a natural life, but you're influencing an eternity after this life. If you can point them in the right direction, why not do it with the most intention possible? Now you're not just people talking. When you are partnering with somebody, you're partnering with them in the pursuit of Christ, digging deep to influence growth in each other. And listening allows us the opportunity to intercede for our students. It helps us to focus our teaching. It's our opportunity to connect with our students. And the listening ear is so important because you never know how long someone has been waiting to be heard. That is so important. You never know how long somebody's been waiting to be heard. So never take what somebody gives you for granted. Even if it seems like the simplest thing. It's imperative that we listen. Teachers, listen. Bible study teachers, listen. Friends, listen. We have to be willing to open our ears and open our hearts to understanding one another so that we can properly lead, guide, instruct, and partner with one another. Because when teaching, it'll always be bigger than you. This is episode 2 of Why Teach? Listening. My name is Emmanuel Wallace, and you guys have a great night. Peace.